Another week, boys, and another TWAB. This week at Bungie, we talk about Rook finding his chill and a new way to enjoy raids and dungeons. It really is almost mid-April already, huh? As the weeks continue to feel like they fly by in a rush for summer, we're excited to show off even more changes coming to Destiny 2, while we continue working on what the future means for our favorite space farming heroes. In the next few weeks, we'll be diving through some weapon sandbox changes and other topics of interest. Now, one of the changes that we are already ready to talk about, however, is a new rotator system for some of the more challenging activities in game, particularly raids and dungeons. Ready to kick off another weekly TWAB-tastic celebration? Let's dive right into it then, shall we? So starting with dungeons and raids, kind of like Dungeons and Dragons if you squint one eye and close the other. Before diving into what's next for activities like raids and dungeons, we did want to shout out that players can finally take Rook's kick to the face at an even higher ferocity because Master Vow the Disciple is dropping next week. For the deets regarding the ramped up difficulty, Guardians should know that the power level is 1580 with the seasonal cap at plus 30. For those challenge hardy players, completing the challenges at Master Difficulty will offer progress towards the raid seal. Each encounter completed also has the chance to drop an adept version of a given weapon for the raid. All right, what else you got? Like, is the adept version's gonna have enhanced perks, Bungie? It's a neat way to up the ante a bit when taking on more challenging aspects of Destiny 2. Master Vow the Disciple drops next week on April the 19th, so make sure to knock out any leveling needed and get that gear in tip-top shape because Master Difficulty is never something to take lightly. But wait, there's more. As players continue exploring the Throne World and uncovering the true nature of the Witness's influence, we've heard your desire for reasons to return to previously released raids and dungeons loud and clear. Now, one way we're freshening up the raid and dungeon experience in Destiny 2 is by developing a new rotation of featured content that we think you'll like starting in Season 17. This is designed to make raid and dungeon content a bit more enticing over the course of a season, while also providing more ways to play when jumping into different activities with friends and clanmates. Essentially, we're breaking up our new rotator system into the seasonal and weekly categories so that players can have a little additional freshness when taking on weekly hunts for power. Let's start with our seasonal rotation, since this implementation is short and sweet. Each season, the newly released raid and dungeon will grant pinnacle rewards for all encounters. As an example, in Season 17, Vow of the Disciple and the upcoming Redacted dungeon. Outside of these, we'll have a raid rotator and a dungeon rotator, each offering a pinnacle reward once completed. For those wondering about the weekly rotation, this particular inclusion will have a chance to feature all raids and dungeons not listed as the seasonal rotation. Want to revisit the Vex in the Garden of Salvation? Do it. Want to go toe-to-toe with Riven because you like to feel hungry for that wildly impressive and stressful as hell for players like me that are prone to panic final encounter? Weird, but get on with your brave and light-driven self. Get that bread. Dude, I just got to interrupt this and say, Hippie, I like your writing style, okay? You're mixing it up on me. Now, rewards? What's different there? For the weekly rotation, completing the final encounter in any of the chosen raids or dungeons will award a pinnacle drop from a weekly challenge. For any raid or dungeon that offers a higher difficulty, such as Master Vault of Glass, that higher difficulty will also be available to select should players be itching for an additional challenge. Oh wait, you said you like farming? We got you there too. With the new rotator system, all lockouts on encounter rewards for legendary gear are being removed, which means all legendary drops in both raids and dungeons will be 100% farmable if you choose so. Throw on some lo-fi music, or lo-fi, is it lo-fi music? Grab a cozy beverage and farm to your heart's content, or don't. The choice is yours, which is the point. All right, it's a rotator system, right? And it also keeps old content relevant. Now back to Master Vow the Disciple though. Fellas, I'm just saying, like, don't get me wrong, I love adept weapons, but there's gonna have to be a little more on that front, right? Because as far as I have seen, it doesn't look like we're gonna be able to craft adept raid weapons, which means no enhanced traits. And if I don't have enhanced traits, then it doesn't really matter to me. Don't get me wrong, the paint job looks cool on some of the adept weapons, but still, there's gonna have to be a little more outside of just a mod and masterwork that gives us some slight stat bumps. I would clearly take the enhanced version of some of those traits on just the base version of these weapons. So in my opinion, adept weapons are kind of in a tight spot, especially when the base form of these weapons are craftable. Now what's coming next? Patch notes preview. We're hitting that mid-season mark, which means it's time to do a little housekeeping. We're tackling a neat little failsafe for players when carrying objects for the Wellspring attack. Some fine-tuning to Rook and his ilk in the Vow to Disciple raid, and taking on a few more gamut changes to continue making Drifter proud. We've also got a small patch preview to share. Nothing major, tempering those expectations now, but here are just some of the tweaks coming down the pipeline for Destiny 2 that you can look forward to before they go live later this month on April the 19th. Okay, so essentially next Tuesday. So the Wellspring attack, fix an issue that could cause teams to incorrectly wipe during a Master Wellspring when an objective is completed with only a few seconds left on the timer. Added a failsafe so that carryable objects in both both the ritual and boss phases of a Wellspring won't spawn out of bounds. Altar Reflection. Fix an issue where players could not complete the evidence board quest reports Altar Reflect due to Altar Reflection not showing up properly. More like Altar of Reappearance. Vow the Disciple Raid. Fix an issue where Rourke will suddenly become shy and no longer transition back to his initial phase properly, effectively blocking progress. Also fix an issue where the Caretaker's dynamic health threshold UI would not consistently display for all players. Also, Caretaker gets stunned a lot, right? That happened to y'all? Where he just gets stunned? You can't even hit him in the head anymore. He just looks the other way. Trials of Osiris. Fix an issue where players were not receiving the expected rewards on post-flawless wins. Yeah, y'all see that this past weekend? There was actually a bug going on where if you completed a confidence card and continue playing in the playlist, you would just get the flawless weapon, or at least have a chance of getting the flawless weapon over and over, even if you had a flawed passage. Not sure if they fixed that. They just said they fixed an issue where players were not receiving the expected rewards on post-flawless wins, but that's not going to be until next Tuesday, which makes me wonder, does the confidence passage still work? Now, text chat. Virtual keyboard support is now available for console text chat. Hallelujah! We can finally communicate, console players. Improvements have also been made to make text chat messages more legible. Also added a system message text field that is italicized to display system text. Local chat now has an orange tint to it for differentiation, no longer the white color. Also, clear chat color distinction for in-game colorblind settings. Now, weapon crafting. Added a consumable item that allows viewing of element counts. This can be acquired through the relic conduits. It is not a limited item. You can discard it and reacquire it anytime. Wow. Why can't that just be added? You know what I mean? Like as just a feature? It's interesting you have to consume an item in order to actually see your element counts. Now, artifacts. Players with all 25 artifact mods unlocked can still reset the artifact for no additional glimmer costs. Once all 25 artifact mods are unlocked, resets from that point are free. Why would you reset though? This seems so bizarre, right? But why? Abilities. Fix an issue where Devour would sometimes grant less buff time if multiple targets were killed in a quick succession. Dude, this is like the second change with the exact same wording going after Devour, right? Added aim assist targeting to enemy Axiom bolt secondary projectiles to help players hit bolts that are chasing both themselves and fellow allies. Yeah, a lot of times if you have an Axiom bolt coming at you, you want to shoot under it, right? That's like where the hitbox is, despite what you're visibly seeing. Now, the upcoming patch will also tackle notable stability issues and crash fixes. Zer's wonky stats for his wares, and Raul's destination materials for sale will resume rotating at reset. These are just some of the tweaks players can expect when these and other patch note items go live April the 19th. Now, Xbox PC Game Pass. As of April the 11th, 2022, Destiny 2 and its expansions, the Forsaken Pack, Shadowkeeping Beyond Light, left the Xbox Game Pass for PC in the Microsoft Store. Players who are accessing the Destiny 2's DLCs through the Xbox PC Game Pass will need to purchase them to maintain access to the expansions. LOL! This is what happens when Bungie signs deals with Sony. Xbox people, you gotta pay like the rest of us. Or I guess just go back to Xbox. Do you still get it free there? Now, too many messages. As of April the 14th, 2022, changes to in-game text chat have been implemented, effectively adjusting a recent change that caused players to run into too many messages alert earlier than expected. This has been corrected to allow for more time to use in-game communication, which will help allow for fireteam messages to run more efficiently, especially during instances like the Vow of the Disciple raid where multiple callouts are necessary. All right, so again, a lot of these changes listed above will be rolling out next week with update 4.0.1. We'll probably be covering it live. If there's anything that's being added last minute, like a renewal grass nerf or a Loreley nerf. Now, the Cleaver emblem grant. We are currently working to grant the Cleaver emblem to players who completed the Vow of the Disciple raid during the contest mode extension. Players who qualify for the emblem can expect to receive it during the week of April the 19th. Now, as a final note, the results are in. One last thing before we let y'all go. We've got monsters and we've got mechs, but who is the ultimate winner? Recently, we shared a poll that players could partake in, deciding what sort of armor ornament would be at the ready when Festival of the Lost rolls around later this year. Monsters were up for grabs for the second year in a row, but it looks like the mech design was what truly captured Guardians' hearts around the globe. Let's break it down. Team Mechs won by a hair, taking up 52% of the votes. But don't count out Team Monster because they came in like a wrecking ball at 48% of the votes. Oh, look at that, fellas. Team Mech won. That was my votes, no lie. Like originally I was like, yo, Team Monster. But then I started looking at Team Mech and was like, you know what? I am a Gundam Wing fan, and that Titan straight up looks like a Gundam. Now, as we rapidly approach the next part of the story as Season of the Risen continues, we're excited to reveal what's next for our Guardians and their corresponding shenanigans. Keep it tuned in here to our weekly TWABs for more info on what's coming down the pipeline, including more weapon changes, a new Gambit Labs, and more. Until next time, stay kind, drink lots of water, and go out there there and do some good in this world. Catch you on the flip side, Guardians. I should go. Love Hippie. All right, guys, that's your TWAB. Man, I still can't believe. I'm shook. Team Mech actually won. What? I'm so excited, man. I'm really pumped to get that gear. I know you look kind of like a Power Ranger with it, but you know what? That's all right, okay? Because the Titan gear is all that matters. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching. And as always,
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.